Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the big head bookworm. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the big head bookworm. BookTube! Woo! Hi! How are you doing? Hello.
It's raining.
Yeah, I know it's raining. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise. The what?
That's horrible.
I think it's the manure. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the big head bookworm.
And it's me. Hi.
Yeah, no, I'm practicing. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the big head bookworm. Louise, the big head bookworm. So the film was upbeat. So say hello. So it's
Hi.
hello, BookTube.
Hi.
Hello, BookTube.
Hello.
I'm Louise, the big head bookworm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Upbeat, and it's raining. Big wasp. Are you a wasp or a fly? You're going to go, you're a wasp. Oh, are you going out? The wasp has gone. Hello, BookTube. Oh. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the big head bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, whatever it is you're doing and wherever it is you're doing it. My word, what a long time it is since I've said those words. I've been practicing over the last couple of days so that when I said it, it would sound okay. I hope it does. I'd almost forgotten what I said, but that's what I say. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the big head bookworm. I've had my hair cut since the last time you saw me. Can you tell? I said to the hairdresser, do I look like I've got short hair now? She's like, no, not at all. So yes, but I did have about 3 inches cut off, which shows that it was too long, quite frankly. Although it's probably grown an inch since I had it cut. And it did. She slightly thinned it as well. Again, you might not be able to tell, but it is thinner. Anyway, lovely to see you. You didn't come here for my hair, but I just thought we would catch up a little bit. I was struggling to read last time I saw you. And I have done some reading. Yes, I've also listened to some audiobooks, but I've been doing some reading. We are now mid-summer holidays, so we finished up the school term. I'm not doing the tremendous hours on the motorway now, which is a glorious thing. I did get... Oh, husband's just phoned. Bear with. Hello, BookTube again. So, this is my second attempt. First one, I just had a phone call from the husband. So, let's try this again. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, big head bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day. Let's get right into it. So, it's been a while since I've seen you. Yes, I wasn't reading much. I was listening to a lot on audiobooks. I was listening to a lot of podcasts. I've listened to a lot of podcasts recently. But I wasn't reading much. In fact, I wasn't doing much at all. One of the things that I was doing was I was making... oh, did you know suddenly? Sorry, excuse me. Terribly sorry. One should cut that out, but I can't be bothered. I was making gifts for teachers and what have you, and I was making cotton dishcloths, well, face cloths, and I bought some soap from Lush, and Benedict chose it, and then I knitted various patterns, and they were very lovely to knit, and there was one particular pattern which you could just whip them out, but then there were a couple of patterns that took ages because they were intricate designs, and they were really enjoyable to do, but I was kind of sat doing that an awful lot, and it was taking up my reading time, and by the time I'd go to bed, my eyes were like, whew, enough already. So I really wasn't reading much, but that all finished. We finished the whole school thing, and I didn't read much in July, and I haven't read masses in August, but I have read some books, which I thought I'd show you now. Real mixed bag of quite rubbish to one of them 3 great. Well, let me talk you through them. So, I have a glass of water because it is sunny here today. We've had the heat wave. Oh, the heat wave. It's all we've ever talked about. Now, we can chat weather. English people, my word, we can talk weather. But the heat wave, it's been glorious. It's been a never-ending source of conversation. I mean, you would go anywhere and you didn't have to think, what am I going to talk about? You'd just go, whoof, hot. That's all you had to say. Honestly, you could go into any situation and walk in and go, whoof, hot. And you wouldn't have to say anything because then you get a variety of opinions from people like me who are like, oh, isn't it lovely? To other people who are like, oh, far too hot for them. So then this week it's broke. So Wednesday, cooler. And Thursday, rain. Friday, yesterday, rain. Today, cloudy, windy, but with sun. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. But we're due some rain later, apparently. Rumour has it. So it's very exciting. It's been a great summer for that. So yes, all exciting. So reading. Let's go back. Because otherwise this is going to be too long. Okay, so I was reading this, I believe. Was I not? Last time I saw you. The Seeker by S.G. MacLean. And I really enjoyed it. I had high hopes that it would get me back into reading. And yes, I really enjoyed it. So this is the first in a series. I believe the third book has just come out. And I can't tell you what the second one's called or the third one because I didn't look it up before I came on here. Oops. But this is London 1655, and it's about a spy called Damien Seeker. No one knows where the Seeker comes from or even his real name. And it's a mystery, historical mystery. I really enjoyed it. It was very, very good. I think it was well worth winning the historical dagger in CWA, Crime Writers Association. I really enjoyed it. It really did kind of get me back into reading. And sometimes choosing something just slightly out of your normal genre. So it's a crime book, but it's not a kind of a, let's think, normally kind of 1920s, 30s, 40s is my kind of go-to comfort crime. And so this is a bit different. And I think I enjoyed it because of that. And actually, where we've lived here has got loads of Cromwell associations. I mean, just this whole area that we've moved into, we've got, especially this village, it's got loads of Cromwell associations. So it's made me want to go and find out about those. So exciting. There we go. So that was it. Then I picked up, again, comfort read, J.D. Robb, Secrets in Death. I think there are at least two out. The last two I haven't read. So I've still got two J.D. Robbs that can kind of held in reserve the bank. And we're going on holiday in the next couple of weeks. And so I could well find myself buying one of those so that I have a J.D. Robb on hand to read. So this is the In Death series. This is number, 47 in the series. It doesn't say. And it's Lieutenant Dallas and her husband and the various sidekicks. And it's futuristic crime set in a futuristic New York. And it's brilliant. I love it. Love them, love them, love them. Start at the first, which is Naked in Death. They're great. I won't talk about that book. I will talk about this book. So I saw this. This was a book I haven't shown you before, but Luck in the Shadows by Lynn Flewelling. I saw this mentioned on Mercedes' channel, Mercy's Bookish Musings, and she was saying that she wasn't reading masses because of stuff that's been going on, and so she was having a real kind of fantasy binge, and she was finding that was really good. Book to get her reading again. So I do like an epic fantasy, and this is really old school epic fantasies. This was written in the 1990s, although it could have been written in the 1970s for all the kind of nuances. I suppose there's a bit more kind of nods to kind of slight difference, between the men and the women and who the men like and who the women like. I suppose there are a few more nods to that, but very old school, hero's own journey. It's called Luck in the Shadows. It's an epic fantasy. I read this one. It was fine. She has gone and bought all the others and read them. I haven't. It didn't thrill me enough for that, but I did enjoy reading it, and it was a fun epic fantasy. So if you like those kind of hero's own journeys, where, you know, the epic fantasies, this is it. So I could recommend that. I picked up the third in the what's the series called? Lords of the Underworld series. I got the first 3 from a charity bookshop. I'm probably going to finish it here. I may well stop here. I think I'm going to quit I should have stopped after the second book and quit while ahead, because this one was terrible. It's called The Darkest Pleasure, and yes, it's one of those things where they've got so many people, because everybody that you've met in previous books are still coming in and out of this book. It's also repetitive, but it's kind of the kind of epic, the cast of people. So it's a kind of a daft romance, paranormal kind of romance, adult, very adult. But you kind of don't want to kind of have such an enormous cast of characters that you're continuously going, who are you with? Why are you doing that? What's your thing? So I might well just stop here and say, yeah, well done. Not going to read any more of those. So that was fine. Then I found this cheap. I pick it up. Where did I pick it up? I picked it up at the Works for £2. Now I do quite like Claire North. Well, I've only read one of hers. I've read the first 15 lives of Harry August and really enjoyed it. I thought that was really good and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I haven't read A Sudden Appearance of Hope or one I hadn't heard of before, Touch. So I haven't, read either of those. But I probably would read A Sudden Appearance of Hope because I do quite fancy the side of this. So this is called The End of the Day. It's similar in Claire North's books in the fact that there is a kind of a reality twist. So it's magical realism. And Charlie meets everyone, but only once. Sometimes he's sent as courtesy, sometimes as a warning. Either way, it'll be the most important meeting of your life. And it's about harbingers of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And Charlie is the harbinger of death. So he goes along and he either meets just before you die or sometimes as a warning or sometimes as a courtesy. It's very political, very of the moment, lots to do with death, but it's a lot to do with war, and it felt quite earnest and quite worthy. And I read it and I enjoyed it, but it also felt quite repetitive. I did find it quite repetitive. And there's lots of snatches of conversation with no kind of, supposedly, there's no kind of, the kind of random snatches of conversation, but she's kind of put them in themes. And again, it got repetitive. And I was like, I just had enough of the book by the end of it. I think it's got such an excellent premise and the scope was huge. And I understand why it turned out the way it did, but it just didn't quite work for me. I'm sure for some people they will love her, and if you like magical realism, and as I said, it has got an interesting premise. I didn't love it though. I didn't like it as much as Harry August, first 15 lives of Harry August, which I really did like. But I am still willing to give Claire another go. So I am going to look for A Sudden Appearance of Hope. And if I see it somewhere, I'd be tempted to get it, but I'm not going to kind of run for it. Anyway, so there we go. 2 more. I picked up this, which is the second one by Paula Weston. If you like books about angels, the first one is called Shadows, and I got it as a Kindle book very cheaply, and I really enjoyed it, and so I picked up the second one, which is Haze, Love, Nightmares, Angels, Wars. In the first book, she's a girl who's recovering from a nasty accident that she doesn't remember masses about, but she lost her twin brother, and then she realises through various things, set in Australia and the Gold Coast, that there's a lot more to her life than she ever realised, and it's all to do with angels and demons and fun things like that. So it's a really good romp. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a YA paranormal romance / angels thing. And the second one, it just wasn't as good. It just wasn't as good. And whether or not it's because she was having to develop the plot an awful lot more, but the relationship between Gabby and her love interest, I got bored with it by the end of this. I mean, I really was like, yeah, it's a bit repetitive. This, you're kind of drawn to him, but you shouldn't, and you're drawn to. It got to the point I was like, I'm bored with this one now, which is not what you want. You want to be carried away and swept away. I think the difficulty with these is that they have. The first book had quite a tight scope, and the second one it got bigger and it got complicated and too many characters again. Too large a set of characters, a cast, for me to cope with. It's not that I couldn't keep track of everyone, it's just that I wasn't really interested in everyone. So, bye. So I read it and that's fine, but I'm not going to carry on. So that's 2 series I've just gone, which is quite nice, quite a relief. One book I did finish and absolutely loved is The Old Ways by Robert Macfarlane. Now, I picked this up cheaply from a charity show. No, not a charity, maybe The Works last year. And this has been a book that I have been reading slowly throughout the whole year. So I only read a couple of pages a day. I started when we were in the other house. And that is doing funny things to the lights. I've actually got brilliant sunshine in it, but if I was to sit in that sunshine, you wouldn't see anything. It would just be a whiteout. So hence it's not the brightest, but you'll be fine. Anyway, The Old Ways, A Journey on Foot by Robert Macfarlane. This is, the best way to describe this is in 4 parts: tracking, following, roaming and homing. And it's about walks that Robert Macfarlane has done in England, Scotland, abroad, and England again. Robert Macfarlane discovers a lost world, a landscape of feet and of the mind, of pilgrimage and ritual, of stories and ghosts, and above all, of the places and journeys which inspire and inhabit our imaginations. So it is part travel book, part memoir, part biographies of other walkers or poets or people that have inspired him or who have been inspired by the landscape. And an awful lot of it is how we are shaped by the landscape we loved. So why we are particularly drawn to certain parts of the country and what that does to us when we spend time in that landscape, and not passive time, so not just sitting looking at it going, isn't this pretty? Actually being out in the landscape and how it may change who we are and how it might well form a part of us, and moving through that landscape, how we give some part of ourselves to the landscape, but we take the landscape away from us. Now, for somebody who has done so much walk, I've done a lot of walking in my time, and I completely understand that. I've done quite a lot of the long distance paths, and there's something about that kind of continuous repetition of walking in particular, because you don't go anywhere, don't go anywhere fast, you get there eventually and you inhabit the landscape and the weather and what have you, and I completely understand what he means about that. So it was fascinating. He is a bit so I absolutely loved it, would recommend it to anyone that would be interested in that kind of any of those ideas. It's brilliant. It's beautifully written. He is interested in the more extreme. I mean, it's never just a walk for the sake of it. It's always kind of an epic walk or epic landscape. It's never just, a walk around the local... Well, in some ways it is a walk around the local area, but it was like his walk around the local area was the Icknield Way rather than just the local highways and byways. Actually, a lot of the ones in the Icknield Way, I do actually know majority of those paths and have walked them. But then he's doing a book, so he's not going to just chat about, the local paths, is he? local paths to his park, he's not going to be talking about those. He's going to be talking about the more epic ones. Also, a lot of it was about men and their journeys. And I think that's partly because it's easier for a man to go on these journeys, because there is a sense that the woman has to be tied to the home because of the family, but also because of her own safety from the men. So there was interesting that I had some quite interesting feelings about how male dominated it was, but then they were the people that were going to be published. But that's just my own personal reflections of it. And if anybody has read it, The Old Ways by Robb and Macfarlane, I'd be fascinated to hear what you said too. But I did really enjoy it. I really loved it. I read it very, very slowly. I was only reading a couple of pages a day at most, apart from right at the end, and then I just couldn't put it down for the last kind of 20, 30 pages because I knew I was coming to the end and I just wanted to finish it. I did find it fascinating and thoroughly loved it, and I've been talking too long. But so yes, I shall wind this up. But yes, really enjoyed it, really fabulous. If you're interested in that, then let me know. And I do want to read his other books, which are Landmarks, isn't it? Landmarks, does it say what his other ones were? Landmarks. Explores the language of landscape and the landscape of language. So that's going to be fascinating, isn't it? So my current book, I am not very far in it. I've only picked it up the other night and I haven't read much yet. Was one of my blind date with the books, and it is The Secret Wife by Gill, which has got something about the Romanovs in. So I thought I just fancied a kind of a good read rather than a fancy read. I just wanted a kind of a good story. That's what I want. I want a story, and that seemed like the story for me, because Dinah Jeffries says it's a triumph, and that's what I fancied. And there we go. That's what I have for you. Those are the books. None of the audio books, just the books that I have read. There's a whole variety there, which is what I like. I like a good variety. I've also read another book, but I'm going to show you that in my next video, which is recent books that I have bought. So there we go. That's my selection. And I hope that's okay. It's been lovely to talk to you again, BookTube, and I look forward to talking to you in the comments. I hope you've been well. And yes, lovely to see you again. Let's do this again. Bye.